Our sponsors for this episode are Gambino's Pizza in Newton. Gambino's Pizza in Newton is located at 1029 Washington Road in Cedar Village. They are open 7 days a week, 10 a.m. to 9 p.m. If you love pizza as much as I do, you know that you always have time and room for pizza. Not only can you dine in or carry out, but they have a huge menu of items to pick from, including wings, pizzas, salad bar, and not only that, but they have the only pizza buffet in Newton. If you're looking for a family-friendly environment or just need to stop in for a quick lunch over the noon hour, Gambino's has got you covered. Visit Gambino's Pizza in Newton at 1029 Washington Road in Cedar Village, or give them a call at 316-866-1778. That's 316-866-1778 to order out or ask questions. You can even order online. Look them up on Facebook, give them a like, follow, and a share. Gambino's Pizza in Newton. Carlos's Kitchen and Cater. Carlos's Kitchen and Cater, located at 114 South Kansas Avenue in Newton, is one of Newton's best kept secrets. Or maybe you know about them and have already stopped in or carried out some of the most delicious Mexican food in our region. If you're just hearing about them, you need to give them a try. If you're a repeat customer, you'll already know why. Give Carlos's Kitchen and Cater a call at 316-804-0158. That's 316-804-0158. Or you can stop into 114, that's 114 South Kansas Avenue. Make sure to look them up on Facebook, give them a like, follow, and share. And don't forget, folks, tell your friends. Carlos's Kitchen and Cater. The Newton Kansan is Newton's longest-running local newspaper, covering all the stories, people, places, and things happening in our community. Chad Fry, the Kansan guy, editor of the Kansan, works diligently to ensure integrity, accuracy, and unbiased news is delivered to your doorstep 3 times a week for an unbeatable price. You can also sign up for online-only access for around $7 a month. That's 12 online papers a month for only $7. If you've not subscribed, it's time you do. Visit them in their office at 517 North Main Street. That's 517 North Main Street in Newton. Online at thekansan.com. That's thekansan.com. Or give them a call at 316-283-1500. That's 316-283-1500. Support local journalism, support the Kansan. Well, hello, everybody, and hello, Andy and Chad. How was your guys' week this week?
Fast, good, busy.
Yeah.
Got trucks on the way right now with pipes and guys in the lightning sitting under canopies right now trying to figure out if we need to move to do something else. And then we're here right now with you guys. So yeah, we're doing good. We're busy but good.
All over the place.
It's it's a lot sometimes. But.
Chad, how was your week?
It was okay.
Yeah,
just okay.
Just okay.
Just an okay week. I got got all my kids where they needed to be when they needed to be there, which is kind of a small miracle.
Yeah. Well, and hopefully everybody's getting into the groove here, right? I mean, we're a few weeks into this, getting back to school and all that, and activities are starting up and everything. So. For certain, yeah. I just like to say before we get started into anything, today is Suicide Awareness Prevention Day. And with the series that we've been doing, with the month that it is in overdose, hashtag that. There's just a lot. We have one more interview this week with somebody on that series, and then we'll jump over into a new series where we'll be just interviewing a lot of people that are running for election up until election. So in advance, you're going to have the opportunity to hear about individuals that are stepping up and either have been elected before, appointed, and want to run, or whatever the case may be. So I think that'll be interesting to hear where they're at and their thoughts, and then give people something to think about when they're going to choose to vote for who they want to vote for. And Andy will be one of those people. Just so you know, I'm throwing grenades today, folks. We're going to throw some grenades today. And if you're listening to the podcast today, we're going to take a brief period of time to cover some local stuff. I've said it before, we like to cover local stuff predominantly first, and that's really where we want to rest most of our time. But we've had some listeners reach out that want us to cover a specific topic, which is hitting national headlines, and I think it has the ability to affect everybody. So obviously, with that being said, that's going to be one of the main topics we talk about today. But without further ado, Chad, what do you got in the cans?
Well, I'm going to have an update on the Bond Development Committee.
Okay.
That's the group that's charged with how we budget to spend a $50 million bond issue. Right?
Fun stuff.
So yeah, I'll tell you, I don't want to be on that committee. I'm glad I'm not, because that's really hard decisions to make. I mean, super hard decisions, because when you start talking about putting on a new roof and putting in a new pool and maybe building storm shelters at multiple buildings, you could spend way more than $50 million. Like, you could probably spend double.
Yeah, 100 easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
Yeah.
Easy.
Well, and I think
if you were to pursue a new high school, you could spend triple. Yeah. So I'm glad I'm not doing that. Yeah. But I got an update as to where they're at in their process.
Very good.
And that they're going to be meeting a couple times yet here in September. The other thing that I got that's going in Thursday's publication that I'm super excited about is this weekend is Newton Fiesta.
Very cool.
So, yeah, that'll be at Our Lady of Guadalupe Church. And I finally pinned down some information as to why they do it at this time of the year.
Okay, so now it's educational.
Yeah, so got that pinned down, and I've got pinned down some of the things that you can expect when you're there. It sounds like there's going to be some great food. Oh, man. I'm going to gain some weight on Sunday if I go. Yeah. So those are a couple things that I got going. Yeah. The Board of Education passed their budget. That's great.
So,
it's good it happened.
Speaking of that, was there a lot of people that showed up to have anything to say about it, Andy? Zero.
I think when you have consistent leadership, there's just less dramatization of stuff. I think people are comfortable with the current direction. Like, when things start getting attention, there's stuff going on that people don't like. I think even the elections feel different right now. Just people aren't being nasty, and you don't see yard signs out yet. And people are it's a different feel, right? I think as far as the school board's concerned. And I sit on that board, just for those that don't know. Melissa is our board president, and I think she's done a great job of stabilizing and getting us back on the track and moving us forward in a way that I think people are they're okay with what's happening. They understand what we're dealing with as a team, and I think some of them are looking forward to this election, but they're not crazy about how we're operating. And so, yeah, I think it's been a good change. And I've been very busy in my personal life with the things that I'm involved with, but I haven't felt the pressure about the school stuff like I had years past. So I think it's just stable.
Don't speak too soon, because I'm sure we could figure out something to stir up a little something to give you some
people that need attention will do that.
Andy wasn't even there on Monday.
Oh God, he didn't even show up. He didn't want to be responsible for voting.
He had other issues just as, if not more pressing, than a Board of Education meeting.
You're throwing him a rope, aren't you? A little life preserver there.
I'm just saying.
I'm just razzing.
My guy.
I had other issues that were probably more pressing, but I still went to the meeting.
Yeah.
Because I was expecting people to speak out on the budget, because they had their revenue neutral rate hearing and they had their budget hearing. And, the county had like an hour of testimony, if that's what you want to call it.
People talking about
of people, and going into that meeting, I don't know how many times I heard somebody say, I'm so glad they're doing this in the evening because, people can go. Well, you know what? The Board of Education's always in the evening.
Yeah.
And people can go. And on Monday night, nobody really went. I mean, it was just all the standard normal people that you expect to see, aside from Liz Gunn and, I forget the other teacher's name. But they let us know who was being nominated from our district for the Teacher of the Year program, which is really cool. But I was expecting because there's a mill levy increase, there's an assessment increase. So I was expecting to hear from some people on Monday night during those hearings, and it was crickets.
Well, and then the city had, Newton City Commission had people show up that there was actually quite the back and forth. I mentioned on program earlier, I thought the city did a very good job of allowing people to openly speak. You know, I mean, there's kind of a way it happens, right? You have your chance to speak, and then it's closed. And
Correct.
During their commission meeting, what they did is people were still asking questions. It was closed, but not closed. And so there was an open dialogue with people. And whenever they had questions, then the staff and the commissioners just tried to answer it. So it was, I wanted to say, when I was watching, I thought, this is kind of a loose meeting. You know, like normally it's a little bit more structured.
They've been kind of loose.
But I think they're doing that on purpose. Because
I do.
Okay.
I think so. And I think it goes with very well. I think it goes with the personality of our current mayor. Our current mayor is someone who doesn't get all bent out of shape over interruptions.
Yeah.
Right? Because that's what that is.
Yeah.
Right? You have your hearing period. That's your opportunity.
Yeah.
And then once that is over, the discussion is supposed to be of the board and the board only. But and so when someone is sitting there, and I've seen it at multiple levels of government, someone will be sitting there going, "Hey, well, what about that sewer lift station out in Fox Ridge that we don't want? Can we get rid of that so that we can cut the budget in the middle of your
having a discussion amongst the board?"
And I've seen it where the board has looked and went, "No, this is our time."
Yeah. Yeah.
But Rich, I don't think gets all up in arms over those kinds of interruptions.
Yeah.
And I think he recognizes that with the current state of our politics, that it's probably a good thing to answer people and be upfront on those questions.
A couple different things. Psychology. I'm always interested in the psychology behind people doing what they do when it comes to political discourse and voting. And there's a lot of research out there. Part of my political science field study had to do with why people vote the way they do, what affects them. There's a lot. That's a huge math game. That's a war game. That's a strategy game. And I don't think that the average public that goes out to vote realizes that even at a local level, that's kind of normal. But as you go up and up and up, and we've talked about on the program before about like Trump and what Trump has done and how people position themselves and how they position themselves and what demographic they're trying to get out the vote and et cetera, et cetera. But I'm hopeful, optimistic that by increasing communication, that changes a culture. So I believe the psychology behind what I'm seeing take place in our community here locally, and if you've got an opinion on it, please speak up, but it's the idea that as long as people are actively doing everything they can to communicate, that equals a form of transparency, if in fact transparency, and transparency and communication changes the culture of a community. Agree? Disagree?
Yeah.
You guys got anything to add to that? I mean, are we seeing, I'm hopeful that, it seems like people only show up. Well, no, I can't say that because I don't want an all or nothing statement. It seems as though when there's an increase in the amount of people that are showing up to a specific entity's board meetings, that generally speaking, there's high intensity, emotionally charged topics that people are talking about. So it's almost like there's an entire conversation going on here, and then the minute I hear something that incites an emotion in me, most commonly frustration or anger, then that's when people show up to the conversation. Generally speaking, they don't have the full story. And then there are some, I know I'm getting into the weeds here, but there are some who, for their own political purposes and gain, want to gray the lines in order to make it politically advantageous to themselves. And there's elected officials, I'm not going to call anybody out by name, that I watch do this, that seem to have this as their modus operandi and know that it's been beneficial to them in the past in order to sway people's opinion against or for a policy that they want passed or denied, and in the end it's very nefarious, and I wish more people were paying attention to this, and that those people would just get ousted, and we would see them as a community through this communication and transparency, that there's also equally accountability for the lack thereof when everybody's trying to accomplish that.
Yeah.
So I know I just threw a bunch out there. Maybe I should just look at that as a Lance monologue moment, and I apologize to you guys. And there's no need to comment. You guys are not responsible for any of what I say, obviously, but that's just what I said. So I'm taking my digs. I'm going to make people angry, and I'm going to throw a grenade out there today.
Throw it.
So are you guys...
Real quick, I did want to say something, though.
We want to cover local stuff.
Hold on, before the pin goes out. I really love the series that you're doing and how you're formatting that, and how you're bringing different sectors for that series in, for all the different pieces and how they connect. And I think Jason did a really good job from the 10,000 foot view to kind of talk about not only at the ground level of what the services look like and the people we get to be a part of serving as a community in those spaces, but yet the way you've just laid all that out and how he tied it all together. And I know you still got one more to do, but I really love and appreciate how you time that, how that can affect people's lives. I know our numbers on those things are pretty awesome behind the scenes. And it just tells you that a lot of people want to be okay with that conversation.
Yes.
And there's a lot of reasons why I believe things are brought to us at a certain time and place. And we need to be open to that energy and understand, well, what does that mean for me? He talked about men's mental health. I know that's been talked about, Chad, with us before here, and some of the real struggles of being a dude today and how that's looked at and how we want to steward our families, but yet we have these different cultural shifts happening. And how do we do that, right? And the other piece is just mental health in general. And, you know, you see things like what's happened on the bus with that poor young lady and that gentleman that chose to take her life, and all the dynamics that have to deal with that comes down to mental health issues.
Yeah.
And we need to be aware. We need to stop putting labels and colors on people, but look at it for what it is. And people are sick, we're hurting. There's reasons for those things, but we need to be more open to having that conversation so we can help people before those bad things happen.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, if I was to give an analogy to people, and I appreciate what you said, Andy, I really do. Encouragement is, you know, everybody thinks maybe that Andy, Chad, and I talk every day on the phone and have three-way chats, and this is not the case.
We're not a sewing circle where we talk about BS. Yeah. We get things done and move in our own directions, and we're very different people, but that's okay.
Yes. Yeah. And that's part of the communication and transparency and openness. And you know, you had mentioned two things. You had mentioned how he had talked about how taboo talking, and that's my word, but that there's a stigma around discussing mental health. Well, there's a stigma around discussing addiction, and then there's a stigma around, you know, illicit substance use versus alcohol, and that's why we covered alcoholism in there, and that being a gateway for people. And I tried to, on the series, just what I thought about is CCRT is kind of the plane, right? The pilot for services that are being provided to people to plug them in where they need to go. So when we did the CCRT interview, that's the plane down the runway. And then we took off and we leveled out at about so many thousand feet. We did our circle. If you've ever been on a plane, I haven't, but I'm told this is what happens. we leveled out. We pulled our circle. We got in our direction, and that was the Brittany and Tara interviews, and that was the Jason interview. And then from there, we just went to 10,000 feet with Jason.
Yeah.
You know, and now we're hovering at 10,000 feet, and the next person that we have on is co-pilot. And they're both talking to the rest of us about what it is and services and how these services operate. And to tell you the truth, guys, it's been very heavy on my spirit.
Yeah.
Like the whole situation has just, I say there's this heaviness, but I'm a true believer in having these people be able to tell their stories. Hopefully that does become, like Jason Griever said, a topic of a household conversation. And through that, then what do? We change a culture, right? Yeah. That goes back to that communication, transparency, and culture change.
Make improvements, and awareness is key, right?
Yeah.
And that's what you are giving people a platform to do. And in this month, in this time, in the culture we live in today, it is so important that we want to talk about all these dramatic, crazy things that, you know, I enjoy talking about, but these are Grassroots, every household deals with these problems.
Yeah.
Everybody today with social media and how fast the world moves and relationship issues and discipline issues, we all deal at some level with mental health.
Yeah.
And for us to just be okay with that and to learn to pray about that, at least to how I choose to deal with it, and how to have a group of people around me that are supportive of me as I go through these hard things, trying to be the best I can be, knowing that I'm a fallible human being, but trying my best to stay centered and knowing that mental health, it's okay. We're not always okay. I mean, I'll take it back to one day because I got a lot going on right now, and all the time. I choose that, and I love it. I get to this my American dream. I get to live it, and I'm walking it out every day. But Chad came through one day here because we see each other almost once a week now because of this, and sometimes I'll see a post he does or something. And I'll do a quick 10-second prayer for him. He saw me and he says, you came up to me and you recognized something that I was trying to avoid. And it was hard for me to take that in, but you cared enough about me to let me know I wasn't alone. And we need that.
Yeah.
And that's what you're doing for people, Lance. That series is more than just the cool series and having people on. You're sharing voices of people that are fighting their butts off to have a better life, who've been through a lot of things.
Trauma. A
lot of things, and a lot of different reasons, and a lot of different levels, but we all need that. And it's okay. It's okay, but find that group, find your people. And sometimes, when we go have our ice cream pretty soon, we just need to go have ice cream. Sometimes it's not about the big elaborate conversations. It's about just letting somebody know you can sit next to them and I'm just here. Let's just have an ice cream. And you coming up to me was an ice cream for me on that moment. So maybe we can do something cool with this, right? It's like an ice cream moment, right? Yeah. It doesn't have to be literal, right? But figuratively speaking, how often a day are we looking around and recognizing those people that just want to be seen, that are struggling with things that they feel like they can't talk to people about because of this fake freaking world we live in? And you're bringing voices to the table. So thank you. I love the series. I'll probably watch some of those again because sometimes I'm in stinking thinking when I'm watching it and looking for things I don't need to be looking for other than the message they're trying to project.
On that note, I just want to say this. I was going to say this at the very end.
That's fine. I'm gonna speak to those folks out there. I'm gonna give you a really very real ice cream moment that had I not had that ice cream moment, not only for me, but for my father, I'm telling you, I have no idea where I would be right now. But it was 15 hours before he passed away. And I just looked at him and I said some things that needed to be said. Things that he needed to hear and things that I needed to say. And there's no better time. There's no more important time to have an ice cream moment with someone than right now. Yeah. And part of that comes from trying to live in the moment. We are masters at not doing that.
How much, and granted, our majority of our content goes out on social media, and so I don't want to be like, social media, but so many of our times that we could have with people person to person. I mean, how many people are sitting in their house alone and the only access they have to the outside world is a phone? And because we've been so conditioned to do this, people don't communicate, people don't talk with one another. I mean, I wonder how long in some people's lives it's been since they just had a hug. And I want to say this before we move on, because it's funny how these just conversations are organically coming into what we're going to talk about on a major level. So, disclaimer, folks, attention, disclaimer. What you're about to hear is probably going to really challenge you. I'm not going to say frustrate you, because I don't know what the response will be in your heart and your mind and your life, but we really want to talk about this conversation in a way that I'm not seeing it talked about through different outlets and avenues, because there's a lot of projecting and there's a lot of hysteria and there's a lot of fear, and we just want to get grounded on this, right? But before I do that, many of you know that I'm involved with the Community Crisis Response Team, CCRT, formerly known as Community Chaplain Response Team. And I'm not tooting my own horn here, but because of what we talked about here today, today, September 10th, is World Suicide Prevention Day. I mentioned that at the beginning of the program. I felt compelled and led to use the CCRT platform to put out a message. And the message is, in remembrance of World Suicide Prevention Day, we ask that you take the time to check in on your family, your friends, and commit yourself to doing one random act of kindness for a stranger. It could mean the world to them and make a huge impact in their life. All right, guys, so I pulled the pin and I'm throwing the grenade out here.
Oh boy.
Something that happened recently was that there was another individual that wanted to attack some of the most vulnerable in our society, which happens to be commonly and sadly at a location that doesn't have the type of security that I believe our children should have. Public schools seems to be doing a little better of this. Private schools, I'm not really sure, but probably not as much. The budget isn't as much. But many people have heard about the most recent incident where a transgender individual went to a private school and started shooting. And there were some lives lost, and there were many that were injured. Shortly after that, and I look at it as it's opportunistic, the Trump administration, love them or hate them, has now begun a discussion about whether or not their administration is trying to advocate on behalf of ensuring that people who identify as transgender, i.e., what some would consider gender dysmorphia, a condition, a mental health condition. That's arguable, okay? Not here to argue with people about that, but that those people, there should be a mechanism for, quote unquote, those people to be in a situation where they will not legally be able to possess or purchase a firearm. Have you guys seen this in the national media? Did I say that in a way that appropriately what your opinion would be? Because correct me before we even get into this conversation, but I feel like I'm trying to give a 10,000 foot view so people know what we're talking about, and then I want for us to really get into a discussion about this. Did I say anything to you guys that would be factually incorrect that you can think of off the top of your head? Because obviously this information is still evolving. But that's a good piece of opening up the package. I think the big topic is
the I mean, I'm way willing to have this talk. I have my own personal views on it. I was looking at the DSM-5, and when they changed the wording of the replacing gender identity disorder with gender dysmorphia to reduce stigma and focus on the distress causes. But the DSM, it has it as a, I mean, it's been labeled, right? I think where you get into sticky wicket, because there are different layers out there of mental health issues, as we discussed.
Correct.
Even me personally, there's times when I'm heavier than others, and I am from a school of work yourself through it, which is not always good for me because it hurts, and sometimes I ignore pain when I shouldn't. And so we all have different stuff and different coping mechanisms. And if Chad hadn't come to me and let me know that he saw I was maybe off my rail a little bit as a friend, just by approaching me the way he did, and the way he did it, which meant $1 million to me after he left, I was still in shock because it hit me where I was working to the point of I was trying to ignore something I was wearing it, and everybody that knows me knew it. And that's why he came to me and said what he said, that everybody that knows you knows. And I'm going, wow, thank you. But he gave me a ability to humanize me in our everyday hustle and the things we do, because we all have our own problems and you don't want to push that on other people. Yeah. Lance, I know we do that together, and you're always very concerned, and I run my race and you run your race, and you don't want to, but we are able to share things, and that's, I think, healthy from a man to a man relationship, to be vulnerable with people that are not there to try to hurt you or put you down, but there's layers is what I'm getting at. And there's layers of different transgender people when you see them and they put themselves online and they're making a mockery of it, frankly, and how they're approaching. They're just weird. It's really weird. And you feel the weird energy, and it feels unstable. And so why does that person with no criminal record not have a gun? Or should they have a gun? And who starts making those calls? And where does that happen? At what level does that happen? And when do you want to make that call on a subsection of people? And then what happens when it's your turn to be judged like that? By who? And what are the mechanisms that cause that to happen? I don't care if you're pro-gun. I'm pro-gun. I have a gun on me all the time, right? Almost always. Just
because.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. But it's just how,
Because we live in a world where you never know.
You never know. I mean, you never know. And God forbid I ever have to put somebody down that has mental health issues. I would hate that day. To protect people and myself, and especially my family, which is for sure going to come first in any scenario I'm in. But there's layers to this. But when you start getting into what we call the sticky wicket, right? Start tracking through quicksand. When you have these conversations, it's a good conversation to have, because who is the one that says what opinion, and when does it start getting manipulated on the other end of what you don't like? Because that's what we're doing in society today. People want things to work the way they want them to work.
And they want government to do it. They want government to dictate.
But that same person
others.
Also doesn't want government to dictate anything to them. That's when it meets their needs.
Absolutely.
And it's the same person that will take the stance on and they don't see that they're doing it.
The hypocrisy.
We have that going on. You were alluding to people earlier in this community that do that all the time. And you know what? I'm apt to that too, people.
Well, if we don't check ourselves.
100%. If I don't have people around me to go, yo, Andy, really, dude? And frankly, I'm a stubborn, opinionated son of a gun. And a lot of people don't do that to me, and I love the people that do. So just know, I'm not asking for the floodgates to open up here, right?
Chad is eyeballing it.
He's like, my head has been doing this for the last 5 minutes.
Yeah, he's getting ready to explode.
He's trying to think.
No, it's just getting big. I mean, I'm just like, dude, you need to be proud of yourself.
This is a big topic. Big topic with a lot of different facets.
It's huge. It's a huge topic, and you can go at it from about a zillion different angles. So if I were to Twitter feed me, I'm a gun owner who has always been in favor of some kind of limits being placed on it.
Boo. No.
Yeah, boo me all you want.
I love it.
Boo me all you want.
I'm just giving you the chat.
But I'm playing with this idea myself.
I'm like,
some people shouldn't have guns.
Go ahead.
Exactly.
Okay.
Some people shouldn't have guns.
What's the triggering point? The DSM-5?
Who makes that decision?
Where does the checks and balances? Can you get your guns taken away and then you give them back? And at what point doesn't a county, you piss off the sheriff's cousin? And this is not Chad.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, there's dynamics in this society, no matter what you do.
Well,
at what point does that not be leveraged against you?
And take that a step further, okay? Because in states where there is red flag laws, you read about individuals that might be in a tumultuous relationship, an emotional relationship with their significant other that might be on the verge of separation. And so then, because that person goes and reports this individual, regardless of whether they are doing what this person is reporting or not, then they're having their guns confiscated. based upon a report from somebody that's just being dishonest because they want to get at somebody. And we literally live in a society. I mean, come on now. I mean, you have got to always consider that people will, in fact, use government, call the police on somebody, whatever they got to do to be able to get back.
Karens are everywhere.
Yes.
And here, let's go on another. This is a crazy angle.
So I know I added some more fuel to that fire.
I'm gonna throw this out there because you're asking, how do we make the determination? The answer is I don't know. But this all started with transgender, right?
Right.
So according to the Williams Institute, more than 40% of transgender adults in the United States have attempted suicide. So there's your argument to say, well, maybe they shouldn't have a gun. But
there's 60% that have it.
But according to Northeastern University, mass casualty shootings perpetuated by someone identifying as trans or non-binary are rare.
Okay, but
because of the number of the people within that segment.
No, that statistic. Now, here's the thing. That statistic is taking how many mass casualty shooters are there, what demographic they are. So if you have 100 mass casualty shooters, then we're talking about 2 of those being transgender. But if you take that same statistic and you say, of the amount of transgender individuals that there are
exactly
20, then 2 out of the 20 are winding up going and doing this. So one is not the same as the other, but the other is the same as it was. You know, I mean, it's
the point is,
you'll get race involved in this too.
Oh yeah.
At what point do you start saying, hey, in the black community in Chicago, you're 90% more likely to be shot by another black guy for a black guy. So then we just take guns away from black people.
Well, black people can't have guns.
See what I'm saying? You can get weird.
Yeah.
But see,
if you had an agenda, you could make something work.
Yes.
My point is, I gave you a statistic and a number that would support limiting gun access for transgender individuals. Yeah. And then I gave you another study and statistic
that
says, no, we don't need to be limiting access to weapons for transgender individuals.
And I almost feel like
that's my point.
And I gotta say, my heart goes out to the transgender community right now because, you know, one way or the other, I personally believe that it's inappropriate to target a certain demographic or group or somebody that has a specific ideology, all the way down to saying, like, Muslims are terrorists. No, Muslims are not terrorists. There's probably a percentage of people that are fanatics, and they identify with the Muslim faith, and therefore, just because some of people that do this goes back to the conversation we're talking about in Ireland with Catholics and Protestants. I mean, there's always going to be a fringe group of fanatics in any demographic or population.
And our modern Christian church, and when I say modern, I'm talking 2025, say 2020 to 2025, has waged an absolute holy war on the LGBTQ plus trans community. I'm sick of it. All right? Because all them fools are out of their lane and not doing their job. But they have absolutely waged holy war, and don't for 1 minute, not 1 minute, underestimate their influence on this issue right now.
And I go back to this. Okay, so I go back to this.
Just say it.
We can take any demographic, any race, any gender, any, you know, just throw that out there. I know that's not all encompassing of everybody, but since we want to class everybody into white, Hispanic, non-Hispanic, African American, Chinese, you know, we've all could be split into these little groups, right? And because politics is a way of trying to incite one demographic against another, and then it's all lucrative, and all the definitions are fluid, and they're forever changing, and there's this it's this idea that I look at it from the perspective of, let's say you have 100 individuals who are white. I'll just do that because we won't get crashed on algorithms here, but you have 100 individuals that are white, straight, Christian individuals that make less than $60,000 a year. Okay, let's say. Okay.
Me.
Okay. Now, if 90 of those people, all right, if 90 out of the 100, if all 100 own firearms, and 90 out of the 100 would never in a million years go out and do anything harmful to anybody, okay? But we look at that 10 that did. Well, that 10%, that's 10%. That's high. And then we go parts per million, right? So if you take that by a million, oh my God, we've got to prevent these active shooters, the 10% that are going to go out and do this because statistics. But we're forgetting that there's 90% that don't. So if we group these into a certain demographic and we say because of the 100% or the 90% are now going to have a restriction on whatever ABC, PDQ, whatever that might be, and in this instance, we're talking about firearm ownership, then that's not a fair, in my opinion, way to restrict the rights of so many based upon the choices of so few.
So, you know, you can go a long ways with this one. If you see the video of that last shooter with what they had written on their magazines, don't call them clips. They are not clips, people. They're magazines. Oh, that bothers me. Anyways, I got my clip. It's like, oh, gosh.
Blame Hollywood.
What are you clipping?
The guy.
That's where it came from.
I got to say, I called.
Guy shot one mag in his life, right?
Yeah,
they start using terminology like that. I'm going, oh my gosh, I don't have a gun around me, dude. Anyways, okay. But, you know, you see that there was straight up turmoil in this individual when they had the video where they're laying this stuff out on the bed. And there was another incident that happened that just broke my heart. This poor gal, refugee gal, who got stabbed in the neck, I think. I couldn't watch it. People I know have gone back to watch. I can't watch it. I don't want to see people get hurt. It really bothers me. And then that's just a young lady, right? She's just coming home from work. And the guy had mental health issues. You can't do something like that and not be off the rocker in your mind.
Agreed.
And trying to justify that energy going somewhere. And for some reason, that situation met at that time. And we're down one human being that had no idea that was going to be her last time. She was so oblivious, right? And it wasn't a gun.
Yeah.
And we have people beating the hell out of people every day in their homes because the guys have mental health issues and they're taking it out on their wives, and that's perpetuating mental health issues and anxiety and other things that in their spouses, and it's happening every day, frankly, in our community.
And I got to say, it goes both ways too, because there's some ruthless women out there, man.
Yeah,
you know, they might not be so physical because they're unable to be
even
physical,
if they are, they don't hurt as much as a guy can hurt a woman, just because of how we're built, right?
Good call.
But the bigger picture is there's just the mental health issue, and in my mind, and how do you categorize if it's going to be a gun, if it's going to be a knife, if you're going to run somebody over with a car? You know, the gun issue is the one that the politics are taking in. So when I've been a part of, the first time I ever thought about we should look at this gun issue is when there was a school shooting here, probably in 2015. And I was like, something has to change. This kid, and then the Uvalde shooting, that was real close to home for me, real close to home. And it's like, what do we do? But at the end of the day, when you really look at the penalization of the majority because of these few, because that's what it is, I think we go down some sticky roads. And unfortunately, we're in a society where these things will happen, and we have access to information, and we're going to hear about it because that's what that scare tactics. It doesn't mean that it's not happening, but it means that there's more things not happening than are.
So how do we get to those few? That's the real question.
I think it comes down to communities, right?
Because creating a minority report is not going to do it.
Yeah.
And that's where we want to go with it for some reason, naturally. The bend is, to your point, right? It's just isolate this group and beat them up.
Tom Cruise isn't going to save us.
Right.
I mean, that's just not going to work.
Legislation is not the way to do it either, right? So okay, to tweak this a little bit, something that's coming up in my mind here is, you know, we talk about suicide, right? I am a firm believer that individuals that go out and do these type of things are suicidal. I'm not a psychologist, I'm not a psychiatrist, but I think there's a reason why mechanisms of which when someone talks about self-harm, then they want to potentially isolate that person, because there's a very thin line between self-harm and harming other people. At just you know what, I want to end it. I'm in pain. I'm this. I'm that. And then the end result is something tweaks, and it's, well, I want to go and harm other people. There is a real awareness there when it comes to that type of.
Yeah, there's a lot there, and I
mean, I'm not trying to get into the
medications
weeds,
that you take, right? There's some medications that talk about, you know, it's part of what you choose to take when you take medications, right? And I'm different. I don't even take Advil hardly, right? I do drink beers on the weekends sometimes, right? But I'm not a medication taker person, but I know people that are, and that's their prerogative. But here's the thing. What if I needed to take medication? And there was a point in my life when I felt like that's what I needed to do, right? Am I going to give up that possible thing that's going to help me get over this hump and say, well, if I take that medication, I can't get my gun? Because my first instinct tells me we should go, and if you're willing to take a medication that says that you're having some issues, maybe you shouldn't have your gun. You know how many Americans that would be?
That's another thing, right?
Because, and then so you start making you start putting this on a scale, going, well, I'm not going to take that med because I don't want to lose my guns.
Yeah. Well, I'm not going to talk to anybody about what's going on inside my mind because I don't want to be stigmatized. I don't want
the sheriff showing up under format SB22, whatever the hell it's going to be, to take my damn guns because I got reported whatever. Yeah,
absolutely.
So these dynamics, man, that's just so sticky. And in a free country, we should talk about these things, but we also have to remember what being free in a free country means and the risk that comes with. Yeah. And being aware, I think, is so important that we just try our best to be aware. And I mean, in my mind's eye, especially when it comes to kids, families should be responsible to a certain point to help fix that.
Yeah. I want to interject this real quick. Because of what we're talking about, I think it's funny because who knows, maybe this went deep into my brain and then it was one of the reasons why I wanted to bring this up. But I listened to Michael Savage podcast. I like his thinking. Some people don't. But he recently had a doctor on who was a psychiatrist for 35 years. And what they are finding out through brain imaging and technology and brain mapping is that many, many people who have some kind of mental health issue, it goes to the brain health. It's not necessarily mental health, it's brain health. And when you look at it from the perspective of brain health and you get into imaging and mapping, what they're discovering is that there are lifestyle changes that would increase brain health, which would ultimately decrease mental health issues, as we would call it, to bridge that gap there. But then on top of it, because we live in a pharmaceutical industry that is about making money, that it comes down to the fact that people that might just need a lifestyle change, and not saying everybody is this way, but they might have something that happened to them. And this guy went through in his research and he mapped brains of, so many murderers, and all of them had what would be considered poor brain health, but not all of them had what would be a diagnosable mental health issue. So then it goes into what these medications that are being prescribed to people when a lifestyle change might be what's needed, what's going in the body, and what's causing the poor brain health, are just being blanketed with these pharmaceuticals. And then that in turn creates even worse brain health. And so then what they found is that in some cases, especially when people are not or should not meet the threshold of being prescribed a medication versus a lifestyle change, that then their brain health decreases. And many of these people that are on these drugs, quote unquote, that we're talking about, that people who identify as transgender might take, are creating an environment where they have chemicals that are adversely being affected based upon the medication that they're taking, that then leads to a situation where we have a continued reduction in brain health. I just threw that at you guys. Monologued again. I apologize.
So is one of those lifestyle changes canceling cable news?
It could be. Yes. You know what? Lifestyle change. Some of the lifestyle changes
I don't mean to make light.
Well, some of
I don't.
You know, some of the lifestyle changes that were mentioned were exercise.
Honestly, you can talk about all the medias.
Poison in, poison out.
Right. But
I mean, even
look what's happening to young women with social media and Instagram. I mean, we are conditioning people's brains to feel like shit about themselves all
on
the time.
Instagram studies on young teenage girls is freaking sick.
And those little girls grow up to be addicted to the device. That's why they have this mental issue, this brain health issue.
It's real.
And then they become adults. So if something doesn't intervene, and youth is really where we want to focus in on, generally speaking. But I mean, the brain health is talking about what kind of food you eat, do you exercise, drugs, do you consume drugs, what kind of drugs do you consume, alcohol, do you consume alcohol? Alcohol is horrible for your brain, folks. It's horrible for your brain. Limited amounts, not so much. But what we're finding is lifestyle is key to brain health. And instead of calling it a contributor to mental illness, we could also lose the stigma by saying we're focused on brain health. What goes in is what comes out. And Instagram's horrible. I mean, I say this and we're on social media. Follow us. You'll have good brain health. But you guys know what I'm saying. And I got to defer and I got to quit because I'm gonna monologue and take control of it because I'm passionate about this now and it triggered something in me. So
here's where I'm sitting right now in my brain. Uh-oh. If you want to do something about this, and I'm talking like individual you. If you want to do something about this, the health department and Prairie View offer a mental health first aid class multiple times a year. Take it. No excuses. Don't go, oh, well, that's just for the people who... No. It's for anybody.
Yeah.
It's for anybody. And they don't offer the juvenile one. There's also a juvenile course. That gets offered at the state level now and then. But quite honestly, suicidal people are very good at hiding things.
Yeah.
But they're not so good at hiding when you question them very directly. And you will learn how to do that in that class. You will learn how to look at someone and be like, you know what? I think this person, they might need some help with depression. So I'm going to help them get that help. That's what the class teaches you to do.
Okay, so can you...
Take it. It's 8 hours, and it'll honestly, for parents, it'll change the way you parent. For everybody else, it's going to change the way you look at the people around you. It will make you a better human.
Yeah. And
take the dang class.
I guess, and I don't know, this is just kind of, our conversation is just going in this direction, so I'll have a pointed question in the end for both of you. And we got to love the rain if you hear the rain in the background.
And I think my windows are open.
There's nothing better than a nice, soft rain on the tin roof.
You want me to move it in real quick?
Nah, it's fine.
Chad's going to have
I'm used to it. It
indoor
happens.
Car wash, inside his car wash there. But
welcome to Shamrock Indoor Car Wash.
Yeah, but it's the natural. We could market this. You know this, right? We could the natural rain. Okay, so just you cannot, and we've got to be aware here of this. You can't. This is the thing for me. Does someone who's suffering from a time in their life from a mental health issue, do they know that? Like I've often said,
they may not.
That does a person who is suffering from a mental health condition know that they are suffering from a mental health condition.
They may not, which is why you need to take the mental health first aid course.
Okay, now, if let's say we do that. Let's say Chad talks to Lance and I'm like, dang, I didn't know I was so bad off. I thought I was okay. But I guess now that I'm educated and understand this, it might help me think about the fact that maybe I do need to get some help, right? We'll just say this hypothetically. Well, who can force me to go get some help?
You can't be forced, but you can be asked. And you can be asked by a friend. And sometimes that's just the tipping point.
Because ultimately we want people to have help, right? We want people to live their best life.
Yeah. I hate the fact that I know so many people are hurting, man.
Yeah.
I can't stand it. And I've been blessed, really blessed. Yes, I have my little moments, but nothing like what I know a lot of people have to carry. And so one, I feel blessed that I don't have that, but I also am, I feel for others, right? So when other people are hurting, I hurt a little bit. And I wish there was more support and help. I wish there was more encouragement. Unfortunately, we live in a world that wants to tear each other down and break each other down.
Yeah.
And it's about me winning and you losing.
Yes.
They don't understand that there's a way and you can live where there's win-win opportunities for people. And sometimes you hope that you have a heart that your parents or somebody down your family tree have given you something to where it's okay to walk away and let that person take a little more from you as long as you're okay and you agree to that.
I've said this before, okay? Is the worst friend you can ever have is one that tells you they support you no matter what. I believe that. I want people to really think about that, okay? You're my friend, and I support you in whatever you choose to do, no matter what.
Yeah,
that's not a friend.
No,
that's not a friend at all.
You can say
I'm going to go jump off a bridge. It's okay.
What you need is a knucklehead friend.
Yeah, it tells you, no, that's stupid.
Yes, somebody that you trust enough that you're not going to go batshit crazy when they look at you and say, "What are you doing, you knucklehead?"
Yeah, that's not a good idea. Oh, you know what? You want to change the tire that way? You want to hop underneath the car with just a jack and no jack stand?
We had this wonderful conversation about the ice cream moment. Okay,
that's the theme. The ice cream moment.
That was me.
A hashtag
that
ice cream
was me.
moment. That
was me being a knucklehead friend. That was me walking up to Andy and being like, "Dude, I see what's going on.
We know we see you.
We see what's going on. I don't know how you're going to have to deal with it. I don't. But I know that it's going on." That's what a knucklehead friend is.
Yeah, it's good.
And to bring this
and everybody, Bob Gresh, and nobody around here knows who he is.
I'd have to concur. I don't know who that is.
He says you need 5 of those in your life.
Yeah.
5. I don't have 5. I had 4. I'm down to 3. Okay? It takes time to become that.
Yeah. Trust.
So go out and find some people to be that. And understand that that's what you want from them. You want them to look at you and say, "What are you doing, you idiot?"
Intentionality matters, and I love to go out and find those people. Be intentional about that. And I don't know how we got here from transgender and gun issues and all that, but I think it's the layers of mental health that we all share. And I think this goes back to our September theme, right? Our September theme, and maybe we need to sell some shirts from Harvey County Talk on our merch store with the ice cream moment.
We have a merch store?
Dude, we have merch store coming. You don't know. Lance, what are you going to do? Did I say too much?
No, people have no idea.
Dude, he's coming off the top rope.
I need a Chad GPT shirt.
They have no idea what's about to happen.
So,
well, that's the whole thing is people don't don't realize, and I mean this in the least arrogant way possible, that because of course somebody would look at me and be like, "Oh, you're arrogant for saying that," but you have no idea that when we started this, that we're running the cross country. We're running cross country. We're not doing a 100-yard dash. So just continue to stay with us as we unfold. We're trying to get better.
Well, you're getting better.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, my goals are here, and I'm always here, if that makes any sense.
That's okay, though. That's why it's going to be what it's going to be in the very near future, and it's going to continue to morph and grow, and those plans that we have are with the big network, right? The whole thing.
Yeah.
Chad, I'm thankful for you too for lending to it and bringing some different edge to the team. And I tell you what, there's a lot of possibilities. And that conversation we had even Friday makes me really percolate on some of what we're already doing and how we can fit all that in with our network. And you know, we're real blessed to have a really great network of people.
Yeah.
And sometimes we think the best in the world are everywhere else except for right next to you. And the truth is I got enough with you guys. We could make it work.
Yeah.
We just have to work.
Yeah.
And work differently, right? But I'm excited. And so this is an example of being able to put down an ice cream a shirt, right, of an ice cream moment, and for that to have meaning for those people that choose to live in the way that we want to live, and we want to get better, and we want to be a good example for our kiddos. But this mental health segment, I think, is one of the most important things we can do right now with social media and dealing with our children and knowing the culture issues we have within our school district. And I'll be selfish and talk about that, because when we see our elementary school kids and what our teachers and faculty are dealing with at that level, it's tough. We need to figure out how to message into families healthy messages, right? And there's a lot of work to do, but it's okay. That's our work. It's like being the church, but differently in today's day and age, how we distribute that. We could still be the church. It just has to be delivered a little differently. Yeah. And hopefully we can inspire people to get to those spaces that have those communities that are built to bring them in front of people that are willing to listen and love on them, just like some of the programs that you've enlightened us about here over the last month. So anyways, I really think we need to be careful with putting regulations on things just because it feels good to us right now.
Yeah.
Play the long game like we're doing.
Yeah.
And I think that's a knee-jerk reaction.
I was going to say knee-jerk moment.
It's sad. It's real. That data is not fake. But we also have bigger things that we need to be looking at. And it's scary when we start justifying because of what we want when our political party has to push power and we forget about everybody else.
Yeah.
We need to avoid another prohibition.
Yeah. And it goes to, okay, so I was going to ask directly, but you guys both just answered the direct question that I was going to ask. So, I mean, there's no point in asking.
Sorry.
Just like, no, I mean, I didn't ask it. It just kind of organically came about because what I was going to ask, you both just answered it, right? And I got to say, in my own opinion as well, we need to get very, very sensitive as a society to say, eyes wide open, critical thinking skills used here. If they're going after this individual that's not me for a certain thing, then once they have that individual, then they go after another one. And I say a second time, well, they're not coming after me. But then finally, when they come after me, there's nobody left to stop. And I think you all know where I'm going with this, okay? We're in this together. Let's not forget that the government is not necessarily our friend. And I'm not talking about local entities that get all the pushback from choices that are being made at the federal government level. But surely at this point in time, we're all done with the uniparty, folks. Okay, so we're out of time. I want to give you guys the last word. What do you got,
But
Chad,
Fox
Andy?
News is always right. Just remember that.
Oh, always. That's all I listen
Packing
to.
right now because I need to know if I come out of my chair.
Chad's got mental health problems right now. Triggered. He just got triggered.
Let's have an ice cream moment.
Yeah,
Chad.
Ice cream
No.
moment.
No.
Ice cream over guns.
He knew he could trigger me with that. So, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Final word.
Yeah.
I don't know when the next mental health first aid classes are going to be, but when they do happen, please sign up and go. By the way, they're usually free, so you got no excuses. Go.
Very cool.
Learn.
Andy, did you do yours?
If you have to listen to this and you get this far, find somebody in your life. Think through your list of people on your phone and call somebody and have an ice cream moment. People need that.
Yeah.
And so do you.
Absolutely. And mine's not kind of in line here, but my final word is I volunteered to be on the Cooper Early Education Parent Committee Board, and we had our first meeting, and it's just, a lot of times I sit back and I just take in what's going on. And I just got to say, more oftentimes than not, if people are willing just to go out and serve in some way, somehow in their community, it's amazing the relationships that you can build. You don't always, there's so many ways to serve. Find a way to serve. Go out, volunteer, serve. It will really, really help anything that you're going through in your life. And it will provide more of an opportunity to have more ice cream moments with many other people. Have a good one, everybody.